We welcome you to the 4th International Week 2019-2 of Universidad Santo Tomás. We are going to start with the presentation Interculturally and Mediation Skills in Foreign Languages Teaching and Learning by Professor Angélica María Ruiz from the Language Institute, Fray Bernardo de Lugo, OP. But first, we want to tell you that in the shirt you will find some QR codes in order to do the registration, and you will participate for gift at the end of this talk. So please do the registration, and at the end you will receive probably a gift. Now, we want to talk about a little bit about Professor Angélica. She's a professional with over 10 years experience in foreign languages teaching, English EFL, French FLE, and Spanish ELE. Her work focuses on the development of communicational skills interculturally and research in English, French, and Spanish. Graduated from the Pedagogical University of Colombia with a bachelor in Spanish and foreign languages, English and French. She has obtained 2 master's degrees in France in arts, literature, and languages, and social linguistics of languages and cultures from the University Jean Monnet of Saint-Étienne. She's currently a member of USTA Learning Research Group and a full-time language teacher at Universidad Santo Tomás. Please welcome her to the stage, and thank you for the invitation, for accepting the invitation.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. So, thank you for the presentation. So guys, we're going to talk about interculturality and mediation skills, but the idea is not to get that bored today. Thank you. So, yes, let's start with this. First of all, what is learning a foreign language to you? Because sometimes we are like this. We don't know if it is learning grammar or vocabulary or listening or writing, and then you have your teaching like telling you, okay, you have to do this and this and this, but what is necessary in order to learn a foreign language? Then I'm going to tell you that we're going to need all of that, grammar, vocabulary, listening, writing, and everything, and more skills. Mainly the social aspect of communication, and that's what we're going to talk about today, the social aspect of communication. In this aspect, we have the CEFR. I would like to ask you, what is it? What's the CEFR? But I can't. So I'm going to tell you. Or I'm going to tell you with a video from Cambridge University, and they're going to explain you what it is and why it is important for us. This is not working.
As a language learner or teacher, you may have heard of Common European Framework of Reference, or CEFR. But what is it, and why does it matter for English language learners? It's actually pretty simple. Different learners have different levels of language ability, but opinions about your English level can be subjective. Your friends may think your English is good, but an employer might think it is not good enough, and you may be better at some skills than others. For example, you may be able to read better than you can speak. We need a clear, objective way to describe language skills that everyone can agree on. This is what the CEFR provides. The CEFR breaks down language learning into 6 levels, which it calls A1 to C2. The starting point, A1, describes a very basic language level. As a learner, you can move up the levels until you reach proficiency, C2 level. This is a really advanced level. By describing what you can do in reading, writing, speaking and listening, the CEFR will tell you where you are on the journey from beginner, A1, through to proficiency, C2. There are many Cambridge English exams available for different ages and stages of learning, all matched to CEFR levels, from young learners through to university and the workplace, or simply for travel. The CEFR was developed by the Council of Europe with extensive support from University of Cambridge ESOL examinations. People from all over the world use the CEFR to explain what level of English they are at and what level of English they need. It is used by learners, teachers, universities, governments and employers. The CEFR has been very influential, and not only in Europe. It's been published in more than 35 languages, and descriptions of individual languages have also been developed. Cambridge is a partner in the English Profile Programme, which provides very useful descriptions of English grammar and vocabulary at each level of the CEFR. Understanding your language level will help you to achieve your goal, whether it's going on holiday abroad, studying at school or university, or getting a job. And that's why the CEFR levels are useful for everyone.
Okay guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. Summarizing, what's the CEFR? So it's something that is going to help us to describe language learners' abilities in European languages, like the general levels from basic to advanced, descriptors, avoid subjective interpretations, and offer general information that can be used according to specific needs, like for example, in an academic purpose or to look for a job. Guys, in this part, we have latest changes in the CEFR. The CEFR is always changing little things in order to improve the descriptors, the abilities, everything related to those stages of languages. In this latest version, they made some changes, interesting changes, and most of all related to the social aspect of communication. We have, first of all, an update and an extension of descriptors. So we already had descriptors for grammar, vocabulary, etc., and now we have some new descriptors shown in there. Okay, let's use technology in this part. So these already existed in other versions of the CEFR, and these are the new changes of descriptor scales. We also have new scales because we had A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Now they have added plus levels, B1 plus, B1.2. Have them in here. Also have pluricultural and plurilingual instead of intercultural. I bet you have heard the expression intercultural, interculturality. children. The information was pretty basic, so they had to improve it for young learners. And it is oriented towards the 21st century skills. What are the 21st century skills? You are students of the 21st century. So, the 21st century skills are 12 abilities that are essential to be in this world today and to have a career and to get a job, etc., etc. What are these? Critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy, flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. For now, the most important are these four here, the 4 C's of 21st century skills. These are important for us because we are thinking about you as learners and our job as teachers. So, what is it necessary to learn a language according to the 21st century skills? To be a critical thinker, to be a communicator, a collaborator, and a creator. So according to the latest changes of the CEFR, those are the most important things you should develop as learners. But let's go to the social aspect of the CEFR. As I told you, they changed a little from interculturality to pluriculturality, plurilingualism more than interculturality again. What is this? That sounds complicated. Guys, when we think about culture as an interaction, we have different kinds of contact between people. We go to the most basic one in here, interculturality, that is the first step of belonging to a culture. Is basically when you know that you belong to a culture and you already know that there are other cultures, even though yours is the most important. The second stage is multiculturality. You know that there are several cultures different from yours. Interaction in this case can exist, but it is not mandatory. And there is a tendency to prioritize the group of origin or belonging. Then for the third step, we have 2 possibilities. The first one is not the good one, I would say, is transculturality. Because in this one, we have cultural relationships of domination. We have a dominant culture and the other ones are not that important. There is a tendency to homogenization in favor of the most important culture. But the important one, or the good one for us, is pluriculturality, in which there are exchanges between different cultural groups. Each group keeps its own identity and protects its values and particular traits. Interaction is simultaneous and exchanges can be equitable or not, but in any case, there is respect for the other cultures. Those 3 steps, in that order, should lead us to interculturality. That is an equal relationship between cultures. For us, it is really difficult because we are more in here, I hope. We know that there are a lot of other cultures and we respect those cultures, but are we interacting in the same level with them? Do we give the same importance to them as we do with our culture? I don't think so, and I think that is the last stage to get in cultural communication. What does the CFR says about this? As a social agent, each individual forms relationships with a widening cluster of overlapping social groups. They say that in an intercultural approach, it is a central objective of language education to promote the thorough development of the learner's whole personality and sense of identity. So our identity is the most important part in order to start thinking about culture as interaction. It is the knowledge of the shared values and beliefs held by social groups in other countries and regions, such as religions, beliefs, taboos, assumed common history, etc. And all of those are essential to intercultural communication. So as you can see, according to the CFR, is something that leads you or that we can have when we have a mastery of the culture and the language we are using. The important change in here is that in other versions of the CFR, we were centered on interculturality as the thing that we should evaluate or develop or take into account. And in this case, we are more focused on plurilingual, plurilingual competence. They say that it is necessary in order to get to interculturality. Why? First of all, it is important to know, as I told you, that there are other kinds of cultures different from ours. But the problem is that we have a tendency to stereotype. And the idea with intercultural awareness and the intercultural skills is to avoid that kind of cliches or stereotyped relationships, as you can see in these little pictures in here. This one that is very mean about Colombian people. And to get to place both cultures in context. Our culture, or the culture of origin, and the one of the language we are learning. According to the CEFR, plurilingual and pluricultural competence is not seen as a superposition or juxtaposition of distinct competence, but it is the existence of a complex or even composite competence on which the user may draw. So, what is important in this case to get pluricultural and plurilingual competences? It is to stop thinking about the first language and the second language as rivals, but to get them together. It is to consider that an individual is more than just one culture or one set of cultures or stereotypes. And to stress the pluricultural dimensions, but not suggesting that it is a link between everything that happens in the cultural aspect, because it can happen just for you. Each person is a different culture. Okay guys, the first part, or the first, the first introduction of plurilingualism and pluriculturalism on the CFR was proposed in 1996, even though in that case they were more centered on pluriculturalism and plurilingualism for translators. For translators in a document apart, so it was not really part of the CEFR as if, but it was part of this document in here, plurilingual and pluricultural competence, and it was a recommendation to read it, but it was not really part of the CEFR at the beginning. Important thing, according to the CEFR, and according to what I already said, we can say that intercultural skills are mediating between two cultures. So it is to know what happens in one culture and in my culture, and to have a mediation between them. And that leads us to the second part of this presentation, that is focused on mediation. First of all, what is mediation? I think that you have heard about this term, but on a different context, not on this languages learner context. But anyway, in this case, the mediation is that you, as learners, are going to work in order to get a link between the two cultures, my culture and the other one that I'm learning. In the CFR, they are introducing it as a set of strategies in the CFR. So they go with reception, production, and interaction. This one is new because we already had reception, production, and interaction as basic strategies as learners and as teachers. But mediation is, let's say, new. What is the idea with mediation? That we are able to link the things we already knew with new knowledge, adapting the language according to the context and the situation, breaking down complicated information, try to understand more than just few words, amplifying a dense text, and streamlining a text. So those two are really, really important. Why? Because the idea is to read a text more efficiently. Sometimes we are just having words, vocabulary, and etc., but we are not really reading and learning about that text. So in this case, they are highlighting the importance of amplifying and streamlining. The first introduction of the concept of mediation in the CEFR was in the 1998 edition. But it was again about translators and about interpretation. So they are talking about the mediator just as a person who is saying in another language what other person is saying in a different language. But in this case, with the new changes, it is more a co-construction of meaning. So the idea is to make sense for whatever reason to communicate with each other directly. If, for example, we are in the classroom and I have a student who doesn't understand something. You can act as a mediator, if you help the other student to understand, but not in Spanish as you usually do, but in English. In that case, you are already being mediators. They also talk about interlocutors who are unable to understand each other directly or normally. So let's imagine you have problems to understand the teacher or to understand what a native speaker is saying. If you want to help your partner, you can act also as a mediator. Let's imagine there's noise, and that's why it is impossible, the communication is impossible. In that case, you are mediating. And the third one is about text. Both input and output text may be spoken or written, and in language 1 or language 2. So that means if you don't understand a text, and maybe you have a partner who did understand the text, you can ask for help, and the other one can act as a mediator too. But according to the CEFR, what is mediation? Mediation is going to go to a construction of meaning. And it is important because it goes further than the terminology from the 4 skills. I hope you remember what the 4 skills are, but I can't ask you. So the 4 skills are oral, comprehension, production, written comprehension, and production. So they go beyond that with mediation because it is not only blah, 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 a person who is able to say a lot of things, but it is a person who is able to be a social agent, as we can see here. So there's a vision of the user or learner as a social agent, and is a person who uses the language. It's not a person who is just listening to whatever the teacher is saying. Now, in this part, we have, for mediation, 2 main parts. The first one is focused on competences. In this case, we don't have the mediation, but in this one, we have activities and strategies, communicative language activities and strategies. So the activities and strategies are more for teachers because we have to think about, we have to prepare for their courses, as you can be mediators in the class. Along with reception, production, and interaction as usual. What is proposed in the CEFR as activities and as strategies for mediation? In here we have a lot of activities and a lot of alternatives to include mediation in our everyday classes. For example, mediating a text can be relaying specific information in speech, in writing, explaining data, parts in speech or in writing, that is already mediation. Processing text in speech, in writing, translating a written text, note-taking. So when you are doing or writing your little notes, taking notes in the classroom, you are already being mediators. We have expressing personal response to creative texts, analysis and criticism of creative text too. Mediating concepts, that is a little more difficult than mediating a text. Collaborating in a group, leading group work, facilitating collaborative interaction with peers, managing interaction, collaborating to construct, meaning encouraging conceptual talk. Now, the third one is mediating communication. As you can see here, we have the keyword pluricultural, facilitating pluricultural space, acting as an intermediary in informal situations, and facilitating communication in delicate situations and disagreements. The second part is more for teachers, let's say, but anyway, you can use it too. Mediation strategies, strategies to explain a new concept and to simplify a text. Some examples: linking to previous knowledge, breaking down complicated information, adapting language, amplifying a dense text, and streamlining a text. Remember, streamlining, reading a text more efficiently. So guys, as you can see, mediation is the key in order to get two cultures, culture A, culture B, into a collaborative work and into you as a learner. Okay? I don't know if you have questions, but thank you for your attention.
Institución de Educación Superior, sujeta a inspección y vigilancia por el Ministerio de Educación Nacional.